Hey, I'm Michelle. Let's have a tea talk. Today I have iced green tea because it is July in Florida. It is unsweetened, if you were cared to know. Today I want to talk about boundaries a little bit, more so your professional boundaries and creating space for you to pursue your goals, establish your habits, and overall just get your shit done. This all started because I have a continuing problem where I shut my messenger down. You can't send me text messages, you can't send me Facebook messages during my work hours, which is usually a 4 to 6 hour period every day where I'm MIA. You can't find me. Unless you were a family member or you're someone who knew how to contact me in case of emergency, you'd have no way of getting in contact with me. Pretty much the only thing that's on my phone is my ringer for in case my husband needs to call me or something. This creates this space to where no one bothers me while I'm working. It's very purposeful. I've run into a little bit of a problem where people don't quite get the message. The people who know me and love me get the message. And if I can clarify, I have never had this issue with any female friend. They get it. Women don't do this to me. But I've had an issue with a few people to where they'll message me while my messenger is turned off, and they'll become quite agitated or even feign disappointment in me because I'm not responding back immediately. They even say things like, well, I saw you like something on Facebook. I knew you were on, you were just ignoring me. Let's put aside how stalkerish that is. My messenger is off while I'm working, but God forbid that during a coffee break or a bathroom break or my lunch break, I should hop on Facebook, comment on a friend's baby picture, and then go back to work. It actually makes me feel like there's a toxic dynamic if I'm followed so closely. My comings and goings. It doesn't make me feel like I'm in a happy place. And overall, my social media is my own personal platform. It is my happy place. So I don't really appreciate the I saw you online, but you couldn't talk to me. Now let's talk about what these people want to talk about sometimes. And you might completely relate to this. It's never an emergency. It's never something of substance. It's never something important. It's usually the weather, food, books, movies. It's inane bullshit. These people are obviously bored, which it's okay. You're bored and you want to chat with someone when you have nothing else to do. You want someone's attention to entertain you when you have nothing else to do. There's no value judgment on that. That happens. Cool, I do that sometimes. It's when a conversation becomes this obligation. You must respond to me. I must be entertained by you right now. It's not an emergency. They're not talking about something really important. They're just going on and on about stuff that you really could talk about at any moment. You could talk about when you have free time. You could just get to later. It's not important. In fact, if you never talk to them about whatever movie or inane bullshit they're talking about, it would not affect either of y'all's life ever. To me, it's the entitlement that people think that they are owed your attention, they're owed your time. They're obviously bored and wasting time. I just don't get why they need to waste my time along with their own. They can do whatever they want in their life, but there is a certain time period during the day where it's my time and I get the bulk of my work done. I'm very jealous of this time. I'm very protective of this time because, frankly, I have ADHD and procrastination is something that's very easy to fall into. I can't have something throw me off my habit or my schedule. Being thrown off my habit, my schedule can 100% set me back for the entire day. And talking about lupia recipes on Facebook is not worth throwing me off possibly for the day or even the week in productivity. It just isn't. So I really kind of encourage you, if you're not already doing it, to be jealous of your time and to set up appropriate boundaries around your time and around what you're willing to and not willing to. And frankly, I flat out block some people. I am not exaggerating when I say I get 20 different people sending me instant messages on any given day, at least 20 separate people who want to carry conversation. No one has time for 20 separate in-depth conversations with anyone. I'm very selective of who I choose to answer back with readily. I'll favor my husband and my girlfriends over most people. If I have a family member contact me with something, they usually get priority. Some jack-off I don't know from Adam is not getting priority. No matter how deeply they would like to have a friendship. That's another thing. Another red flag for me is when people contact with me and they try to get into these really in-depth conversations and they're pushing for intimacy immediately. It's a red flag when people are just trying to push past boundaries to get in your face. In you. It is a huge red flag that something isn't right and I need to get out. And if you're someone who's experienced this, you probably know what I'm talking about. It's weird. It's creepy. It's uninvited. It's unprompted. I am not asking for it. A little while back, I was at a writers' meeting, and I met some dude there. Whatever, I meet a lot of dudes at our local writers' meeting here in Florida. And whatever, this dude wanted to be friends. Cool, whatever. He sent me an email. Cool. He wanted to hang out with friends. I'm looking at it as, he probably wants a beta reader. We can share stuff, a local supportive community, very important. But it got to the point to where he was sending me very long emails. And the emails got progressively longer and longer. The emails, it's almost like, a frog being boiled in the water. You raise the temperature gradually, and before you know it, you're dying in water. It started off with normal length emails, and the emails grew and grew and grew to the point to where he's sending me messages that are so long they're unmanageable, and it's, by the way, all bullshit that doesn't matter he's talking about. I'm sure it matters to him, but it really these aren't emergencies. These are things we can talk about in person. If we went and got coffee, we'd go get dinner after a writer's meeting and talk about some of this stuff. It was mostly pseudo-intellectual, very masturbatory stuff. But eventually it got to the point to where I looked at a body of text and an email address. I select all, copy paste it into a Word document. It was 21,000 words. He sent me a 21,000 word email. This effectively would take me 3 or 4 hours to read through and actually respond to all his points. This isn't a conversation or relationship. This is a job. I had to send him a message back saying, yeah, I don't have time for this. I only have so much time a day I even choose to spend inside of my email. My email is mostly like business that comes through, and I don't get a lot of personal emails, which is why I was okay with him sending me messages at first, because he's a guy from the writers' meeting. I was like, oh, okay, potential person who wants to talk about writing or potential beta reader. This falls in line of me doing business. But it exploded. And I would have no problem if he wanted to go get coffee and just talk about this stuff. But he seemed to prefer the written word. Cool, he's a writer. I get it. But it almost seemed like because they required he didn't require a response from me. He just wanted to talk about this really pseudo-intellectual stuff. And eventually, some of the stuff he was talking about was throwing up these huge red flags. Like, he'd talk about, like, women at his work and stuff, and people at his work, specifically women, and how boring they were. And if anyone knows me, they know my opinion on this kind of thing. I don't believe that there are boring, shallow people in the world. There are people who are focusing on the wrong things in life, but I don't believe there are shallow people. Take any given person, and there is a very complicated backstory to why they are the way they are. People don't bore me. People are complicated. People have backstories. And it kind of just reeked of he was looking for people to entertain him. Like, if you constantly complain that people are boring, that kind of tells me that you use people to entertain yourself. And it's like, this is right in the alley of, people who will waste my time. People who are looking for me to be entertainment from them because they got shit going on in their own life. And this is in the middle of my work time. And he used to send me emails trying to invite me out on Saturday to, like, dinner with a bunch of other random single men that I didn't really know well. And he's talking about how they talk about philosophy and this and that. And I was like, oh, good. It's a pseudo-intellectual self-masturbatory dinner where you sit around with a bunch of middle-class, like, white dudes who are completely oblivious to the privilege that they have, but are going to complain about how the world doesn't understand them anyways, because I was willing to sit through one of those dinners once, and that's all it was. It, in my opinion, was a waste of time. We're not accomplishing anything. We're not even really connecting. It's everyone's trying to out deep each other. That's an utter waste of time. And frankly, these were all people that don't get things done. They don't produce writing. They don't make sales. They're not actually pursuing their goals. I have personal philosophy of you should be hanging out with people that you find more virtuous than yourself in some way. You should be hanging out with people who push you to accomplish things. You should be hanging out with people who walk their talk. And this was a group of people who do not walk their own talk. All they do is talk. And all they do is feel bad about themselves and talk about how the world doesn't understand them and they're deep and everyone else isn't deep. So I'm officially probably on the not deep person to this individual right now because I flat out said, here's a boundary. Do not contact me. I don't want to talk about these things. If you want to get coffee sometime, okay, but stop sending me these long emails, and I will never be free on a Saturday to go to dinner with all these people and just chat about this. I mean, I'm jealous of my Saturdays. My husband's off work. I tend to spend it with him. I'm a middle-class American with a mortgage. I have a family. I have a husband. I don't have time to waste. It is one resource that cannot be mined, your time. And I'm not trying to be an arrogant bitch about it. It's just, I'm an arrogant bitch about it. And it's also just negativity. I no longer have time to waste on people who are going to be super freaking negative about stuff. Complain about how other people are boring, or they're not deep, or they're not, like some kind of high schooler calling people posers. I mean, it just reeks of being entirely other focused, and other focusedness is time drain. You're not focused on yourself. You have your own hustle to figure out, don't you? And it also just came across as someone who uses other people. They don't view other people as individuals with dynamic lives. They are toys you take off the shelf to entertain yourself. Again, reeks of someone who has nothing going on in their life. And it's a huge red flag for a toxic relationship. And the kind of complaint and pushback I got from that was that they're just trying to be friends. They are trying to push for intimacy. And like I said, it's a huge red flag when people push for intimacy quickly with you. They don't care about your boundaries. And this comes from, I think, people confusing a lack of boundaries with intimacy. Access is not the same as intimacy. A relationship is not defined by the quality of your intimacy. It is defined by the quality of your boundaries. Take any relationship, no matter what it is, you can define what kind of relationship it is by what kind of boundaries you hold. And the deepest, closest, most secure relationships you have are the ones with the most boundaries, not the least. Your relationship is defined by what you are not willing to do to each other, what shit does not fly, what you are not willing to say to each other. You are not willing to name call. You are not willing to commit infidelity. This is someone you do not betray. This is someone you do not lie to. This is someone you do not speak badly of in mixed company. This is someone you do not disparage. This is someone you do not emasculate. This is someone that you allow the space for them to grow and be creative and productive. Those are the most intimate relationships you have, and you have the most boundaries. You have the most amount of rules about how you will conduct that relationship. And that's exactly what makes it the most intimate. It is defined by what you are not willing to do to that person. People you don't care about, you have no boundaries around respect with them. People that you don't care about, you don't put boundaries around their time. Like, I don't care about what you're trying to accomplish. I need what I need from you right now, and just get it done. I don't care what you got going on in your life. No boundaries. Someone you actually care about and have intimate contact with emotionally, you care about their time, you care about their well-being, you care about their emotional well-being. I mean, I was sitting around with like some housewives once, and they're all talking about how ugly their husbands were. I have trouble with that because that's a violation of a boundary to me. Did you imagine your husband talking to a bunch of people about what an ugly fat cow you are? That's good for your relationship? It's not cute if women do it. It's not. That's a violation of a boundary to me. You don't disparage people that you love. You don't disparage people that you have loyalty to. That's a boundary. You do not cross it. And your relationship is defined as super intimate by your unwillingness to cross that boundary. But people confuse that boundaries means you're somehow not close, somehow not intimate, when it's the exact opposite to me. So when people refuse to respect my boundaries, what they're telling me is that they do not respect me, they do not believe in me, and I'm trying to get work done. It means they don't believe in my work, they don't believe in my ability to accomplish it, they don't think it's important, thus they don't think I'm important. So I guess this is where I really kind of encourage people, hold your boundaries, be jealous of your time, and write strongly worded emails to people when they don't respect it. I'm gonna finish my iced tea. Bye.